The Attorney General has been ordered by the ECOWAS court to pay an amount of $750,000 to Transparency International for late filing of its defense in the case filed against the Japa deal. Transparency International is asking the regional court to halt the proposed deal geared at monetizing Ghana's gold and rather allow for further consultation, as it alleges that the presence of politically exposed persons in the transaction leaves much to be desired. The regional court, which is sitting here in Accra on Wednesday, March 23rd, heard the case for the first time. The AG's office, however, asked for more time to file its defense.
This has nothing to do with the merit of it, but the fact of the case we have taken to court is to show that, first of all, that deal did not follow due process. Secondly, it is not in favor or for the benefit or in the public interest, because the SPV set up by the government, or proposed to be set up by the government, the company proposed to be set up by the government, has some politically exposed individuals on board. And we have approached the court to say, if this deal or you know, what we call Commonwealth of the people of Ghana, if they did not have a say as to how the entire process was set up, if they do not have a say on the sincerity of the government in setting up the entire deal itself, and how this thing is going to favor them at the end of the day. Most importantly, if people who are relatives, associates, apologists of the government are the ones who are on the board, and if they are the ones who have formed this company, then it shows that there's so much to be probed. It shows there's so much to be looked into. It gives us an impression that there was no transparency at all in the first place, and it gives us also the impression that the people have not been duly informed as to how this is really going to benefit them. Surprisingly, we filed our papers. We served. This case is 2 years old now. We filed in 2020, this is 2022, and they've been served. And it took them time, of course. They filed their own defense out of time. And even the defense, this is, again, sounding a note of caveat. This is not looking into the merit of the case. That is for the courts to do. But looking at their defense, most of the allegations that we have backed up with facts, with documents, with our own position as to the suspicion around the deal, they have not really been debunked. But the most disappointing thing is that after 2 years, the matter was meant to be held in Nigeria, but I mean, the court said we should come and sit here. The court is going through its external sittings, and it's been here since 10th of March, I think. They had 2 years to respond to our reply. We filed a reply to their supposed defense, and surprisingly we got to court after putting in so much expense, so much time, so much energy, so much resources. They told the court that they needed time to respond to our reply. I found that very discomforting, because I flew in from the United Kingdom for this matter. Now, if I have to stay back in Ghana, that is an additional expense on my part. And apart from that, it disrupts my event as well, because I had my own programs also lined. I practiced in Nigeria and I also worked in the UK, so everything is really, really disrupted right now. But the court has given them up to Monday, next week Monday, to file their rejoinder. According to them, their rejoinder to our reply. In the interest of justice and the spirit of natural justice, they've been given time to respond. So we're coming back on Wednesday to argue the case itself. But most importantly, what we are asking for is just a level of transparency, is a level of commitment from the government to show that this deal is in the interest of the Ghanaian people. Because if we are talking about the Commonwealth, the only thing Ghana has, or the major thing Ghana has, is the gold, its gold reserve. And if we are setting up an entity to begin to sell and to begin to take the proceeds of this reserve without due information to the Ghanaian people, I think this is not in the interest of the public. If the government really wants to be open, there should be a whole lot of consultation. The consultations were never done, which is part of the due process that should have been done before the deal will even enter into fruition. We're not even asking the court to nullify the deal. We're not asking the court to make any adverse pronouncement on the deal. We're only saying, if this thing is for the people of Ghana, it is just fair for the procedure, for the system, for the processes to be altered and allow due consultation. And that is when people who are represented, the people who the government claims to be doing it for, would have an opportunity to express whatever reservations, whatever concerns they have.
Let's go to Parliament. The claim by the ranking member on the Food and Agri Committee, Eric Opoku, that Ghana imports tons of cassava and onions from China generated heated debate on the floor of the House as Majority Chief Whip Frank Anodompre challenged the Asuna South MP to back his claims with evidence. But the ranking member insisted the 2021 budget captured the importation of a number of staples, including cassava, as part of measures adopted by government to stir up the country's food stuff. We can now speak with our parliamentary correspondent, Parker Wilson, on this. Parker, explain to me how the debate on imports of cassava and onions got heated on the floor of the House.
Well, Asha, briefly on that, the Salagan North MP read a statement on the floor of the House in linking the root and agriculture production within her constituency. So members of the House were given opportunity to contribute to the statement. That was when the ranking member on the Food and Agriculture Committee made the point that in the 2021 budget, government said that they were importing some staples, including cassava. And for him, that is quite unfortunate. But I must say that that claim was challenged strongly by the Majority Chief Whip Frank Anodompre, who challenged him to produce evidence. In fact, Aisha, this is a house of record, and whatever you say must be backed with evidence. So the first Speaker of Parliament, who was presiding at the time, called for the 2021 budget and specifically went into the paragraph where Eric Opoku, the Asuna South MP, referenced. In fact, it was established in the budget, it was clear that government was importing cassava. However, what was not captured in the budget was where the importation was coming from. And so the point about the phrase that they were importing, or government is importing cassava from China, was the concern raised by Joe Sewusu, and asked the Table Office to expunge that from the record, because that is misleading and it's false and does not represent what is exactly in the budget. But I'll tell you more about what's happening in the chamber. Aisha, tomorrow something big is happening in Parliament, where the Finance Minister, Kenneth Furata, has been tasked by the President, His Excellency Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, to brief the House on some austerity measures the government is taking in order to pull us back from the economic quagmire and the mess we are in at the moment. I have with me the Member of Parliament for Tamale Central, Mohammed Ibrahim Mutala is here, and Dr. Mafu is also here representing the MPP. Let me engage the NDC MP quickly. Honorable, Finance Minister is coming tomorrow. What are your expectations there?
Well, let me quickly say that what happened in the chamber today, for me, it was needless. Whether we import it from Kusumukaya or from Azerbaijan or from Ukraine, the bottom line is that we are spending money importing something we are capable of producing.
But this is the House of Record. So if you are referencing where the importation is coming from, you have to get it right. And that was the point the Speaker made.
I'm saying the bottom line is that we're importing cassava. I mean, for me, that is critical. Whether we're importing it from Tamale Central or from Kusumukaya, we're importing. And the reason why the information that will be given to us by the Finance Minister tomorrow has something to do with what's detained in the House today. We are being challenged. We are even mopping up the few dollars in circulation to buy cassava. Because in importing cassava into this country, you are not importing it with cedis. You are importing cassava. We are importing water into this country. So that is the state of our economy. In any case, why is the Minister of Finance coming to address us?
No, but he's been tasked by the President.
It's the President we want. The Constitution is very clear. Article 67 of the 1992 Constitution is unambiguous that the President will address Parliament at the beginning of every session.
But the Minister is not addressing Parliament on the state of the nation. The Minister is addressing Parliament based on the economic crisis.
We are in March. The President promised us he was coming to address Parliament and postponed it 2 times. The reason why the President is running away, what is he coming to tell us? Is he coming to tell us that the dollar is no longer 8 cedis, 8%? Is he coming to tell us that the economy of this country is being challenged. And I can bet my last penny on one thing. The minister, and if it doesn't happen, call me a different name. Tomorrow, the Minister of Finance is going to tell us that the challenges we are facing is because of COVID, which is utterly not true. The minister is going to tell us that challenges we are facing with regards to the CD and oil prices is because of Ukraine-Russia war, which is not true, because it is very clear that taxes alone on our fuel is 40%. It is also very clear that they have been disingenuously not telling us the truth. We are a net producer of crude. Kept the minister in the 2019 financial statement that we made a profit, a windfall of $1.1 billion. This was the Minister of Finance's statement. So one of the Minister of Finance's statement that we are a net producer of crude. So when crude prices surge globally, we benefit. What Nigeria has done is, as a result of the surge in the price of crude, they are pushing the consumers. This government is unwilling to do that. Let me tell you.
So you want the finance minister to be candid and fair, transparent to the people?
He has never been candid and fair to the people of this country and to this parliament. And I can bet my last penny. We are praying that...
Hold on. Let me come to Dr. Mafo. Dr. Mafo is an NPP MP in the Program Consortium. He's giving me his expectation. The finance minister is there tomorrow. What are your expectations there?
Yeah, so before I come to that, I think we also need to set the record straight that we were talking about importation of starch. If you read the particular paragraph in that budget, it talked about starch and not cassava. So I think we have to clarify that. But I believe that, he talked about starch. Industrial starch.
So let's focus on the finance minister.
Industrial starch is different from the raw material cassava.
Right.
Now, tomorrow, the finance minister will come here. I believe that he will be talking about the measures that government will take to deal with the economic challenges that we are facing, which by and large is as a result of the global economic problems that we are facing. So I want to expect that the minister will talk about measures to deal with the CD depreciation. I want to expect that
realistic measures,
yes,
not theory.
Yes, of course, realistic measures. Otherwise, things will not work. I'm expecting that the minister will also talk about something about the fuel price, and also, I'm not sure we are here to blame. It's not good. Everybody knows why we are. Everybody knows why we are where we are. So there's no need to come and rehash that. The important thing is that what measures will government put in place to be able to deal with the challenges, and I believe that is exactly what the finance minister he's bringing solutions and not rehashing the challenges and the problems that we know. So we should be hopeful that tomorrow the finance minister will tell us what government is going to do to deal. So let's wait. I don't think we need to debate. Right. Let's wait. Let's be hopeful. At the end of the day, all that we want as political leaders in this country is that things go well for the Ghanaian people. So let's be hopeful and see what comes up tomorrow.
Sure. Thank you very much. So Aisha, those are the two members of parliament making the point about the expectations for tomorrow. So the NPP is clear that there's going to be some glimmer of hope at the end of the tunnel when the minister appears. But the NDC is of a different view that the minister will come and rehash and reiterate all the problems you already know. So these are some of the expectations from the minority and the majority caucus in parliament.
We'll definitely monitor the finance minister's address tomorrow to parliament, and we'll definitely bring updates to our viewers. Away from parliament, Senso Mensah, a plant protection expert, has proposed a full spraying of mango farms to check the invasion of the bacteria black spot disease. This is because mango farmers in Somenya are losing large areas of their farms lands to this disease, and they're calling for government's intervention. Known as bacteria black spot, the bacteria attacks leaves, twigs, as well as the mango fruit. The farmers say they have no option but to sell their farmlands because of the high costs associated with maintaining the farms in the wake of the disease. Joy News' Samuel Kujubrace has the rest of the story.
It's discouraging. To be frank, it's discouraging because you invest a lot, you invest so much. And then at the end of the season, when you are ready to harvest, you see BBS destroying your fruits. And most of the farmers have started selling off their farms because of this particular BBS issue.
Obed Amevo owns this 10-acre mango farm here at Somenya. Mango farming has been his livelihood in the past 15 years. Obed says all looked good until recently when disaster struck. A disease called the bacterial black spot, popularly known as BBS, attacked farms in Yellow Krobo and its environs, and his was not spared. Last year alone, he lost more than half of his investment to this disease.
This BBS issue has been a problem for all the farmers, all mango farmers for the past years. And surprisingly, we've been making all the noise. But for instance, last season, I was supposed to harvest for HPW after farm assessment. When they did the farm assessment, I was hitting almost 35, 36 tons. I was only able to harvest I got just about 11 tons.
So how do we help these farmers to save their farms and mango fruits for the next market? Dr. Joseph Honga is Senior Research Fellow of Soil and Irrigation Center at the University of Ghana, Legon. He joins us live with more. Doc, I'm grateful for your time. Is there a way by which these farmers can stop the infestation at all?
Yes, thank you very much and good afternoon. Yes. In fact, the disease is not only a problem in the Somanya area, it is a countrywide problem. If you go to Brongahafo, the northern region, all the regions that were part of the previous Brongahafo, all the regions have the same problem. Now, fighting the bacterial disease is a very difficult thing to do. Because of that, I'm working on a lot of alternatives. Currently, there is the best alternative is to try to boost the resistance of the mango trees against the bacteria, because the fungicides that we have around actually are not very effective. So we have a chemical which can boost the resistance of the tree against the bacteria. So that is what is in the system now. So to be sure it works very fine, I'm still carrying out some experiments to be sure that, because if you look at other parts of the world where mango bacterial black spot is a problem, they are relying on the use of that chemical in combination with copper. So the chemical has been imported into the country, and so far the work that I've done, I've showed some promises that, of course, the disease is very devastating, but there is hope.
So I want to understand how this boosting can be done. You're talking about a chemical, but how does this boost the resistance of the mango?
Thank you very much. So just like the way, so let me come to the human context where COVID is now wreaking a lot of havoc. So we have got some chemicals which are injected into the human body, and they produce some agents that help the body to fight against the virus naturally. The same system is applying in the mango trees. So in fact, the chemical is called Actigard, and the active ingredient is called acetbenzola S-methyl.
Okay.
So what it does is that the farmer will have to buy that chemical, will have to spray it on the mango tree, and the tree imbibes the chemical, and it goes into the system. Okay. And the tree naturally produces some agents that helps to fight against the bacteria.
So if I understand the picture you're painting, these mangoes that have been affected by the bacterial black spots cannot be rescued, but new mangoes are the ones that you can inject with this chemical to give it that resistance, correct?
That is correct. Because of that, we advise the farmer that before the flowering or before the fruit will set on the mango tree, he needs to start applying these treatments. So boost the immunity of the tree, and then the new fruit that will come will be able to fight naturally against the disease, and the rotting of the fruits will have to stop.
So with those that have been destroyed cannot be rescued? Those ones cannot be rescued.
Strikes in your farm and the fruits starts rotting on the tree, there's nothing you can do about those ones.
I'm grateful for your time. Dr. Joseph Honga, he is a Senior Research Fellow, Soil and Irrigation Center at the University of Ghana. Now, meanwhile, politician, actor, and a farmer, John Domelo, is predicting harder times for farmers in the near future in the wake of the current economic crisis. We spoke on the AM show with my colleague, Benjamin Akakpo.
Adding value to whatever we produce is also very, very important. So storage, number one, and two, adding value to it. And so sometimes when we have a glut and the farmers will say, oh, you know, their produce are getting rotten on the farm and so on and so forth, it hurts most of us. So it hurts a lot of people because it's like, what can we do to be able to help these farmers and also ultimately help the consumers so that the prices are stabilized? And with this, I think the government should really come in a lot to be able to help us to store these goods very well, so that at the end of the day, everybody is happy. Because 2023, things are going to get worse. As for that one, there's no doubt about it. Things are going to get worse, but of course, it will get worse, and then hopefully it will get better. For us as farmers, we don't want a case where we always say, oh, things are getting worse. Things are getting worse. Right now, it's a very, it's a very unstable situation. No, we want the best for farmers, one. Two, we want the best for consumers, and we want the best for the country as a whole. We want to be able to say that at the end of the day, we've been able to produce enough food to last us the whole year. We've been able to produce enough maize to last us the whole year, enough rice to last us the whole year, enough cassava to last us the whole year, so that the prices are stabilized, so that you know that when you pick a bag of maize, and let's say now, for an example, let's just say a bag of maize now is maybe 250 cedis. You can project that in August or September, it will still be 250 cedis because we have enough stocks there to last us. And that is what we need to be looking at. And that is what will give us, food security.
About 500 million people across the globe are estimated to be lacking access to hygienic menstrual products. A chunk of the number are made up of adolescent girls who resort to unhygienic products to take care of themselves during their menstrual period. Perhaps the challenge of these girls is far from end, as the cost of sanitary pads have gone up in the market. From a price range of 5 cedis to 8 cedis, Joy News Checks reveals one needs at least 10 cedis to get a good sanitary pad today. A number of organizations have been pushing for at least the removal of taxes on these products to make it affordable to all. How worse can the situation get for us to find solutions? Joining us via Zoom is Executive Director of Basic Needs Ghana to tell us more. I'm grateful for your time, sir. How does the increase in prices affect the advocacy by your organization and others to make some of these products easily accessible to the adolescent girls?
It's quite an unfortunate situation. Not long ago, Basic Needs was supported to implement a sexual and reproductive health rights information and services project for people with mental health conditions. And one of the things we were to do was to increase awareness about people's sexual and reproductive health care needs, particularly adolescents, young women especially, and those in school who may be living with a mental health condition. And if enough information was provided around menstrual cycle, menses, and maintaining menstrual hygiene. And so having given information and exposed people to what they could do and the products they could use, only for prices of those products to increase, gives cause for concern, because you are not likely to get people make use of the knowledge and awareness they have gained just because of high costs of prices of sanitary products.
Immediately, what do you seek to see from government, talking of the gender ministry, for instance, and all other stakeholders involved in this to ensure that this challenge is dealt with?
We expect to see the Ministry of Gender, especially as they lead on the social protection initiatives that are aimed at improving social and economic conditions of people who are vulnerable, marginalized, and excluded, that they see to it that there's a reduction in prices of some of these, I would call them essential commodities. And if not so, find a way to provide them either free of charge or at a cost that the most vulnerable in our society could benefit, because of the implications of high costs on utilization of financial products and utilization of information and skills that they have gained.
I'm extremely grateful for your time. Peter Bedi-Makiyaro, he's Executive Director of Basic Needs Ghana. We can now go to the Central Region and get updates of the Takoradi Cape Coast accident. Central Regional Correspondent Richard Kwejo-Nyako joins me live with details. Kwejo, what's the latest? I mean, before we came here, we knew that 13 people have lost their lives. We also know that a number of people are injured, and the two drivers we are told are responding to treatment. What more can you tell us, Richard?
Well, so the police say they have started their investigations. We already know the details, where the articulated truck skidded off the road, veered off its mark, and then collided with the Ford bus that was traveling from Takoradi to Cape Coast. And so it caught fire, and the police reports that 13 people died instantly. They were burned beyond recognition. According to the police, they've started receiving calls from some people in the Western region who are complaining that they can't locate or can't find their relatives. And so that is what they have to deal with. But the challenge now is that the people have been burned beyond recognition. So it will be very hard to indicate that this is my brother, this is my sister, this is my mother, or that. And so that is the challenge they are facing. But they say that they are on top of their game, and they will ensure that everything is okay. I also went to the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital, where the two drivers are also recuperating at the hospital, and the medical officials indicate that they are responding to treatment. And so for now, the police are holding these two people as suspects in this matter because they were the only survivors in the accident.
Is our correspondent in the Central Region. We'll bring you more in our subsequent bulletins on this one. In Laura, the academic work over there has resumed at the Laura Senior High School following a heavy rainstorm that ripped off the roof of some dormitories and classrooms. Headmaster of the school, Saidu Tangbani, tells Joy News even though school has resumed, they are still waiting on government for the necessary support to fix the devastation.
We haven't had any relief yet, but the teaching and learning have returned to normalcy because we were able to relocate the displaced students to some other rooms that we initially earmarked for the incoming Form 1s. But yesterday they had to do cleaning because of the distraction, but today classes have resumed. But talking about support, we haven't really received any support as of now. Though the authorities responded, but they came to take first-hand information on the disaster. NADMO came, the Regional Director of Education came, the MCE came. The reports are yet to be sent to Accra for an assessment to be done. The level of destruction is so high that I think that National will have to come in. And if they will have to come in, they will have to come and do an assessment before probably the contract will be awarded for a contractor to work on the re-roofing.
What's the explanation coming from authorities? I mean, those who are supposed to bring in the relief items, including NADMO?
Well, the NADMO regional director was here yesterday. They said what they told school authorities was that they will look into it. They haven't told us anything concrete yet.
A circuit court in Cape Coast has sentenced Samuel Mensah, a 32-year-old man who stole a metal slab on the valve chambers belonging to the Ghana Water Company. The court convicted him for stealing and sentenced him to 18 months in prison. Speaking after the ruling of the court, communications manager of the Ghana Water Company for Western and Central regions, Nanaya Bani, called on residents where their installations are to help protect such installations to avert challenges with water supply. Richard Kwejonyako has more.
On the 6th of March 2022, Samuel Mensah stole a metal slab covering one of Ghana Water Company's valve chambers at Ankafo in the Central region. He was arrested, sent to cells, released later but failed to appear before the court. The one who stood surety for him was asked to provide him, and he did provide the accused. On the 8th of March, he was put before the circuit court and was sentenced to 18 months in prison. Communications manager of the Ghana Water Company for the Western and Central regions, Nanaya Bani, is appealing to residents to help protect such installations to avert challenges with the supply of water.
The valves enable us to stop water from flowing through the pipe network. For example, there is a burst, and the burst requires that we stop water from flowing through that pipeline. So it is the valve that we operate with throttle so that it will stop the water from flowing through a particular pipeline so the burst can be fixed. So if it happens that the valve is not working, why? Because it's been buried. Somebody, a thief, decided that he would steal the metal slab, and people threw, debris, and the valve is covered, and we are unable to access the valve. It means that work would delay.
He further explained the danger it poses to motorists and users of the road where the metal slabs have been stolen.
You expose the road users to danger. A child can fall into the pit. A car may even fall into it to cause hazard, and somebody may be injured or die or something of the sort. So this is something that we will plead with the public to protect for us. It is an installation of the company, and by extension, the installation of the government. The company is for the government of Ghana. So as you tamper or do something against the company's installations, you are doing something against yourself as a member of this country called Ghana.
Reporting for Joy News, Richard Kwejonyako, Cape Coast.
And still to come in business, Dr. Efria Akoto, who is Minister for Food and Agriculture, is calling on governing body of the Grains and Legumes Development Board to revive the authority to achieve its mandate. Details shortly in business.
Time now for business. My name is Beverly Broom. The Minister of Food and Agriculture, Dr. Efria Akoto, has charged the governing body of the Grains and Legumes Development Board to revive the authority to achieve its mandate of increasing seed production. Speaking at the inauguration of the board, Dr. Efria Akoto called for improvement in the grains and legumes sector after 15 years of redundancy.
The mission of the Grains and Legumes Development Board is to produce and distribute good quality seeds of cereals, legumes and vegetables, as well as planting materials of cassava, plantain, yam, amongst others. Inaugurating the new board, the Agric Minister charged the members to revive the authority to live up to its mandate.
Falling into inactivity for what was designed for them to do, which is to develop grains and legumes in this country. What has been left for the last 15 or so years has been a ramp of the activities specified under the Act, basically to do with seed production. And in terms of their presence around the country, we know that it's been reduced to a few rooms in a building in Kumasi, opposite Cadbury Hall, which is not a very good story to tell. So you have a very big responsibility to revive an organization which has been in virtual comatose.
Chairman of the board, Alexander Akwesiakwa, pledged his outfit's commitment to improving production of seeds as well as the livelihood of farmers.
My team will work assiduously to come out with policies and programs that will augment the Ministry of Food and Agriculture's agenda to promote agriculture. This will ensure sustainable food production and food security in the country. Seed, which is the basic unit of plant propagation and very critical to crop production, will be made available to farmers at all times in order to increase their household incomes and reduce poverty. The board will ensure continuous support for the government flagship program, Planting for Food and Jobs initiative, with the provision of quality foundation seeds of the major staple crops to farmers. Also, the board will support the commodity value chain development process as envisioned by the Honorable Minister for Food and Agriculture.
The Embassy of Israel has commissioned an irrigation demonstration field as it seeks to support food security in Ghana. The field, which is one of a kind, will be sited in other locations across the country to provide precise irrigation solutions. There's more in this report.
Speaking to Joy Business at the event, the Israeli ambassador to Ghana, Shlomit Sufa, noted that the introduction of technology to the agricultural sector is the embassy's contribution towards addressing the issues of food security in the country.
I believe that a new technology is always required because you can always do better. And when you have, not just Ghana, but many places in the world face the daunting question of food security, it is up to us to do as much as we can to introduce these new technologies by Israeli companies that have the know-how, that have the capacity and the skills to come to contribute to Ghana's economy and to improve the crops here.
The Chief Executive Officer of VIPIT Africa, Jacques Blimbaum, is confident this new technology, if adopted, will bring an end to seasonal harvesting as farmers will have an all-year-round production of food.
NDRIP allows you to choose the crop you want to do at the time when it's most valuable, and to bring it to market at the time it's most valuable. And that's really, I can't stress strongly enough, okay? Because the rain, the farmer who's dependent on rain, they all bring their crops to market at the same time. And so you'll see a price high off season and a price low when everybody's coming in crops. We want to take the farmer out of that. We want to level that out, okay, on a higher level. So for the farmer that has NDRIP, he's going to bring his crops to the market when it's going to have the highest value. If the economy has to import less food from outside Ghana, whether it's Burkina Faso or from China or wherever the rice is coming from or the vegetables are coming from, that's good for Ghana. Okay, it's good for the currency. It's good for the employment. Okay, and it's good for the happiness and the well-being of the population.
AMG and NDRIP seek to use the irrigation demonstration site to exhibit the growing of seeds and fertilizer application to support farming in the country.
That's all for business. For more news, kindly log on to myjoyonline.com. Thank you for your company. Up next is sports.
Let's do sports now. On Joy News today, I am Muftau Nabila Abdullahi, and we continue our build-up to the World Cup qualifier between Ghana and Nigeria, which is brought to you by Qatar Airways as well as KFC. KFC, they say it is finger-licking good. Airtel Tigo Sika Koko bundle. Life is simple and 10bet for the better. Let's hear from the president of the Ghana Football Association, Kurt Okriku, who has described the World Cup qualifier between Ghana and Nigeria as a contest of pride, saying Ghanaians are Ghana's little babies who wants to be seen as the big boys.
The waiting period is over. It is that time of the year where every Ghanaian and every Ghanaian will have to stand up and be counted. It's that time of the year where our country's pride is at stake. It's that time of the year where our proud warriors will once again step forward to be counted. It is that time of the year where Ghana must be at the Mondial. But before we do that, we have a common foe, the Super Eagles of Nigeria. They come across as our little babies, but they pretend to be the big boys.
And the Minister of Youth and Sports, Mustafa Hussein, has tasked the players to rise to the occasion and defend the flag of Ghana. According to him, their performance impacts every household in the country.
The government is ready to make sure that we provide the needed logistics to ensure that the team shines on that very day. History, as we know, will guide us, and playing a stadium where all the time the Black Star get victory also guide the players and also motivate them that the Ghanaians expect nothing less than victory. And that is, but in football, we also know that there are three outcomes when it comes to football. It's either you win, you lose, or you draw. For me, as a minister and Ghanaians, our expectation is to win. And the God we serve, we pray to God all the time and also urge our players to win. But we should also know that it is also possible, because the possibilities, the options are there, three options. So it's also possible that we might go into the game and will not deliver. Okay, so we should be ready to accept and know that this is a game, but we urge the players to lift the flag of Ghana very high. That on the 25th, they are not only playing for themselves, they are lifting the country, the flag of our country, and they are playing for the 30.8 million Ghanaians across the world. Everybody will be watching them, and whatever happens on the pitch have impact on every home in Ghana that day. So I have no doubt, I have total confidence in the team that they will deliver. We all know that our team is a very young team, very competent team. In every aspect of life, there is a period where there will be transition. And we are in our transition period as far as our football is concerned. The days we're having Michael Essien, Kojo Asamoah, Suleiman Tari, Asamoah Jan, Kevin Prince-Boateng, those caliber of players have all now exited our national team. A new crop of players are coming in. So there's a transition. And it took those players that I've mentioned time to go to their peak. The same way, these players have to be given opportunity. There will be a time where they will get to their peak, and Ghana will take. And I believe that we are getting there.
That's your sports for now, but we do have more sports stories on myjoyonline.com. And do not forget that Joy Sports build up to the big game, Ghana versus Nigeria, is brought to you by Qatar Airways, KFC, Airtel Tigo, as well as 10Bet. We appreciate your company, as always.
Time for showbiz. My name is KMJ. With the VGMA's nomination list out and several other categories missing in it, people have complained, others have criticized why some categories have been taken out of the VGMAs. Robert Clark is the PR of Charterhouse. He's been explaining why Afrobeat and Afropop have been actually separated in the VGMA's nominations list this year.
Afrobeats and Afropop. Afrobeats and Afropop. A lot of music is coming out in this particular space, so you want the scheme to be able to accommodate them. So you have to go with the times. When a particular wind is blowing and you can see the trajectory and where it's heading, you need to be able to create the facility to be able to accommodate them and be able to work with them and walk with them. So that's exactly what we've done. So there's absolutely no problem. What is a clear distinction between the two? Okay, so Afropop, by definition, is music that has infusions, like basically African rhythms, but with infusion from all around. So from jazz to hip hop to whatever, all of them, R&B influences and stuff. But Afro beats, by definition, is music that has indigenous influences from Ghana in terms of high life, and Nigeria, they have Fuji music and all of that influences these beats. So that we know for a fact. We know what Afro beats is and we know what Afro pop is. You understand? Yeah. So that is how we establish a distinction. For as long as the generation is building more music in this particular space, we need to let the system or the scheme accommodate them and to be able to support them and be able to work with them.
That's the PRO of Charterhouse, Robert Clark, speaking to my colleague IB. In the wake of celebrating Ghanaian culture and everything that we have, identity, Chief Moment, playwright, has spoken about the need to actually control the culture regeneration process as it grows here in Ghana.
And culture is never static. Culture is constantly regenerating. But what is important is the control you have over that regeneration process. You can be a consumer where you just sit down and everyone else influences you, or you can be a prosumer. You produce and you consume. I mean, we talk about high life. High life music is our culture, but high life is a fusion of traditional music and foreign influences from Europe and America and other places of the world. So, I mean, yes, definitely culture will always change. So one of our panelists talked about the fact that even the suit is our culture, which is true, but the question then comes, how are we producing the suit, right? If we are constantly just importing what others are producing, the styling is not from us, everything is from abroad, then we are just consumers. But if our designers today have adopted, yes, suit, but we are sewing the suit, we're adding our symbolism to it, then you are beginning to nuance, the aspect of control of the culture.
And that's playwright Chief Moment over there speaking on Ghanaian culture. That'll be all for Showbiz. For more news, log on to myjoyonline.com. My name is KMG. Thanks for watching.
And that's how we wrap up news today this afternoon. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Many thanks for watching. For more news, log on to myjoyonline.com. You would get all the updates of the developing stories. Enjoy the rest of our programs.